read that over
I'll
from you.
I'll just keep going.
Yeah. Do you want to? Could I get you to stop it so that I know that you've got it, and then I'm going to get it rather than some error with it?
Yeah, cool. I'll do that.
Because that was pretty useful.
Okay. Right, that's recording synced. Is there any way I can just straight send it to instead of going through my phone, or
You won't be able to. You won't be able to send it through your phone. You will have to plug a USB cable in, and send it to me that way. I think I don't know if you can actually upload files on a browser, but you might be able to. So you could log into Google Drive on your browser and then try and upload, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll try that after this.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll start again. So new start. Switch on audio. You numpty Maxwell. Okay. Right. Okay. So, where's my desktop? Here it is. Continue. Okay, done. Right, I'm going to switch back to a desktop that I did. Where is it? Right, the half-written one. Now, this is about schemaless. So what I'm thinking about is what the MD files on the data that we were talking previously about.
Can you give me just 1 second? Sorry, just need
noise.
half a second. Okay. Never mind. Okay, all yours.
You good?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right. So here's my thinking at the moment is that there's a thing called an atom, which is an assertion. An assertion is like a line in an MD file. There is a customer called Karen, for example, but we don't state what that format is. You could also equally state it, Karen is a customer, or let the LLM work it out. There's an item, there's a thing, so Karen, so the whole thing is Karen is a customer, that's the atom. The item is Karen, that's the context. And there's another thing called characteristic, which I'm proposing, which is a customer. So that's the line. So we get when we're talking about previously the data.
Okay, what's the purpose of this talk again? Sorry.
Just to get your thoughts on how to. So previously we had data at Nexi. I'm talking about data.
And your question is what?
My question is, am I going down the rabbit hole, or does it sound sensible?
Yeah. Okay, what's the topic? What is all this? What is all this?
All this is how to define what the sysprompt is saying that data should be structured as.
What? How to define the sysprompt for specifying a data format, you mean?
Right. So, for example, what I'm trying to do is get to the top level. It doesn't know what a CRM is. It doesn't know whether you're buying a dog or booking a holiday or whatever, but it does know that there's a thing called an item, and there's a
Yeah.
thing called a characteristic, and those
Okay, and
together
why are you
are
trying to solve this problem?
because we need some way of writing a sysprompt that the data is coherent, because
The
otherwise it's
data
going to.
is coherent. Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know how to get it
Okay.
because the tinkering that I've done to date, like this example here,
Mm-hmm.
is just tinkering around with these types of calls. You can get a um, uh, let me try to do something here. I'm going to ask it to turn this into a template. Um,
Okay. I mean, that's the job of the commissioner, essentially. So the commissioner looks at the goal from the goalie and says, "Oh, we don't have one of those." Does two things. First one is creates the template.
right. So
Um,
here's this is what you'd be storing as your. So this would be in the README
yep,
as like, hey, this is the template for how all the customer records have to be,
yep.
and then periodically I will go through the list of customers and I will make a separate API call out with the data in that record to check it against this template. Um, Now, for example, if someone came in and changed this template for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
that would then trigger me to go through each and every record in the system and update that record to
Mm-hmm.
reflect what the new template specification was, like a transform. So
Mm-hmm.
the key elements that I'm working on building are this looping ability where it doesn't it never looks at a folder full of files and tries to ingest them all at once. That's the lensing. The lensing capability says, here's a template, go through each one of these in turn, right? And that will be a hundreds of parallel calls out to the API where each one's only lensed or focused on just that record, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all drawing on this single template.
Okay. Can I just check? I think we're okay, but just to make sure we're in sync on lensing, can you define lensing?
Lensing is the ability to make an LLM executed piece of logic loop over a list of different pieces of data. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I may have a list of 20,000 customers. There's 20,000 markdown files in a directory. If I want to uh, add an extra field in there that says religion, then lensing would be the ability to cause enough API calls to that would there would be ultimately in total 20,000 API calls that said update this record with the religion field.
Mm-hmm.
Lensing is a way to scope down the LLM's operation onto a single piece or pieces of data, perform a single set of operations, and then update the file system tree. Where what I will do with that lensing is I can identify when types of operation are independent, so I can call them in parallel so that we get good speed. Or if it's something like a like find me the maximum, that's not
Mm-hmm.
an independent call, but I can chunk it down, so I can do like 100 at a time,
All right. Okay.
those sorts of
Okay.
things. So
All
lensing
right.
is a way of defining a kernel or a function that can be looped over arbitrarily large sets of data using techniques like parallelism to ensure that the overall latency of the operation is not significant when you compare it to the rate of thought of a human, taking into account that LLM calls are inherently slow, but we can make that disappear in a way.
Yeah. Okay, good. Right, right. We're talking about the same thing. That's good.
Okay, so I would,
Okay.
and a simple way to think of lensing is the contents of a for loop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
you would define the contents of that for loop in natural language. I will then build the mechanisms by which it will run that, do the actual for looping part, where, in almost every language of note, the for loop is built into the language. Those are the types of pieces that I'm building now. How do I build a for loop? How do I build an array? How do I build a map? Those are the pieces that I'm trying to
Right,
produce.
right. Good,
You
good.
will then use those to do what I think is almost anything, because you are effectively being given the programming tools of yesteryear, but in LLM form. And honestly, there's not that many. Like, you look at a language
Mm-hmm.
like JavaScript, you've got your primitive types.
It's
You've
always the
got,
same. It's always the
it's
same.
always
Yeah,
the goddamn same, right? While,
yeah,
for,
yeah, yeah,
await,
yeah. Exactly.
async. All these things, and really, there's maybe half a dozen that you
The
really need.
duplication in programming languages is just
Yeah, I
madness.
know.
It's
I know.
nuts.
It's yeah. So I'm trying to make those basic functions just enough to be able to do this CRM,
Okay, so
right?
right, yeah.
So I think that if you, in the
Mhm.
politest possible way, leave me alone, I will come back to you with the answers that you're looking for this
Okay.
thing. I think. I think.
What I need is so previously we were talking about two files, data and exe.
Yeah.
Exe was effectively README. Data was
Right.
effectively MDs.
Right.
What I'm asking you and providing a really shit answer for is what's the structure of the MDs?
Oh, yeah. I think that that's actually. You'll love this. Up to
Uh-huh.
you.
Hey, well, here's what I'm thinking about them. So down this bottom corner here is I just came up with this earlier on this evening. This whole thing is called an atom. Now, what I'm thinking of is there are a number of atoms in an MD file, and each have a statement of fact. Let's say so. An atom is a statement of fact.
Can I stop you here?
Yeah.
Um, I know what you're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to know the answer for it now. You could say anything you like in terms of what you're thinking of. It's probably going to sound about right. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really know
Mm-hmm.
until I build the for loop part, which interprets things. I will understand then how to tell you whether that's
Yeah,
good,
I
bad, or
can. Yeah,
otherwise.
no,
Right?
that's
I
cool. I can
actually
roll. I
can't.
can roll with that. I can roll with that.
I can't tell
Um,
you right now.
because I'm almost certainly certain that this is wrong, but it's I don't know what percentage of wrong it is. It's
Yeah. So give
not.
me, like, what I believe I need to do is have this first sort of crack at it, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll immediately know maybe 10 times more than I know now,
Yeah,
and then we can reconvene over the next few days, and I'll be like, oh, I learned this, I learned this. What do you think of this?
yeah,
Because you're coming at it with, you don't have to reconcile any of this with the actual file system. I have to
yeah.
start from the file system and meet you here.
Right,
And
right,
so
right, right.
I don't
Exactly.
know enough about either of these things to even say.
Exactly, exactly.
So
And yeah, my question was with your brain, is there anything widely wrong with my logic? But what you're saying is there's no way to tell that yet. So it's fine.
there's no way
That's
to
cool.
know. Yeah,
That,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool. That's cool.
yeah.
I'll roll with that. So well, this is the way I'm going to over the next couple of days, look at it, is getting the MD files in this structure. Blah, blah,
Mm,
blah. I'm not going to go into it. The
mm,
commissioner really, well, the example of the commissioner file is the identifying items and characteristics, and then writing those into an MD file, into an object, which can then be loaded depending on where in the hierarchy you are, and fixed curtains have blah blah blah, all that sort of thing. But if you're cool with it, I'm just going to riff with this because this feels right. This is
Mate, yeah,
It's
like I
yeah,
said, I couldn't tell you either way. I'm sorry.
yeah,
You're gonna
yeah. No
just have
worries,
to.
no
What's
worries.
gonna happen is I'm gonna figure out how to do these primitives like for
Oh,
loops and
yep,
reading in data, writing out data, commits, pull requests, all that.
yep.
Maybe there'll be some constraints that you'll have to obey because like there are some fundamental constraints in there somewhere. I don't know what they are, but once I've tried to make a basic version of the CRM, I think we'll know.
I think it's going to be okay because you're coming at it from bottom up. I'm coming
Yeah,
from
yeah,
top
that's
down.
right, that's right. I'm
We're
coming
we're,
from
we're going
bottom
to
up.
meet somewhere, and it's going to be messy in the middle.
No, it's as long as we don't miss like horribly fucking
Yeah,
like two sides of the channel being dug, and then you're like, oh,
exactly. But I'm coming from this from a strong kind of epistemology prologue driven
yeah,
way
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
stating what you know and what you don't know and so on.
yeah.
But it all makes sense. That's the good thing. When I was so this was when you had to go off to your call. I just sketched this down from my thoughts, and it's like, yeah, there's
All
nothing
right,
here that I think is weird. It's like
okay.
it kind of falls out almost like on your lap, which
Well,
is
those are always good
curious.
signs.
Yeah,
Okay, so unless there's anything else from you, I'll get on with
yeah. No,
version
I'm good.
12.
I'm good. It's 3:30 here. I've got probably another hour around if you want me to jump back on. But
Okay.
otherwise, no. Oh, I'm doing the recording, aren't I? I'm going to stop the recording now because we'll do parish notices.
Hold up.
There you